Good morning. The Unitarian Church of Montpelier is located on Western Abenaki land, which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst Indigenous peoples. Our church honors, recognizes, and respects these peoples as the traditional stewards of the lands and waters on which our sanctuary is located and where many of us reside. In that same spirit, we will respect, protect, and be good stewards of this land for as long as we move upon it. I am the Reverend Joan Javier Duval, minister of the Unitarian Church of Montpelier, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Welcome to our weekly time of worship on this Sunday morning. For over 155 years, UCM has been a sanctuary for those seeking both spiritual sustenance and peace and justice in the world. Whether you are a newcomer or a longtime member, we are so glad that you are with us this morning.
The light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up my world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up my world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up my world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. We are approaching the winter solstice. And following many ancient and contemporary spiritual traditions, we will now invite the four directions and center to our sacred space and time of worship with these words by Melissa Moongoddess. Wherever you are, I welcome you to now stand in body or in spirit. And one tradition is to face with palms open toward the various directions as we welcome them, beginning with east. You can find your east by facing the direction where the sun rises. Now from the east.
Greetings and welcome East, place of air. Join me in welcoming East by making the sounds of birds and of wind. Here at the solstice, the winds are cold and chilling. Our words of love to each other keep us warm. Air is the element of inspiration and new ideas. Join with me and say, welcome East.
Greetings and welcome South, place of fire. Join me in welcoming South by making sounds of fire, sparks and snaps and the pops of bonfires. Here at the solstice, the sun rises far to the south, She will stand still for 3 days and then begin her journey north again. The wood burning in your hearth fires and the wood stoves transforms the heat of the summer sun into warmth we enjoy today. Join with me and say, welcome south. Welcome south.
Greetings and welcome west. Place of water. Join me from Arizona in welcoming west by making water sounds, drops of water, the whoosh of waves and rainstorms. Here at the solstice, water comes to us as snow and ice. We bundle up and hug each other. Water stirs emotions, but also washes things away and makes us clean. Join with me and say, welcome west.
Welcome west.
Greetings and welcome north. Place of earth. Join me in welcoming north from northern Vermont by stomping your feet on the ground and making the thump thump of your heartbeat. Here at solstice, autumn seeds sleep in the earth, covered with the snowy blanket. Spring's pure potential must rest in the fertile dark. Join me and say, welcome north. Welcome north.
Greetings and welcome center from central Vermont, place of spirit. Here at the solstice, our community's love and commitment to care for each other and those in need through the long winter is most important. When the 4 elements are honored, the 5th sacred thing, spirit, arises. Join with me in saying, welcome center. Welcome center.
Thank you for inviting and welcoming the directions to our time of worship and into the sacred space. And at this time, Kelly Walker Hart, our interim music director, will lead us in our opening song.
Good morning, earth. Good morning, sky. Good morning, water flowing by. Good morning, rocks. Good morning, leafy greens. The squirming, swimming, and the running animals, and all you reaching trees. Good morning, earth. Good morning, sky. Good morning, water flowing by. Good morning, birds flying overhead on the winds of the 4 directions and the mighty thunderheads. Good morning, earth. Good morning, sky. Good morning, water flowing by. Good morning, sun. Good morning, moon. Good morning, distant star. We'll remember your story soon. Good morning, earth. Good morning, sky. Good morning, water flowing by. Good morning, you. Good morning, me. The ones who came before and the ones Good morning, sky. Good morning, water flowing by. Good morning, life singing in our bones. We give thanks for another day in this land that we call home. Good morning, earth. Good morning, sky. Good morning, water flowing by. Good morning, earth.
And now I have a solstice story for all ages. This one, the seed of this one came from Erica Barron, who works for the UUA and lives over by the lake in Chittenden County. I took that seed, and in the dark nights this week, a new story came forth. It is called The Gifts of the Darkness, and I invite you to say that with me. The Gifts of the Darkness. Not so long ago, and not very far away either, there was a village of people who were afraid of the dark. Not just the young children, but the teenagers and the grown-ups too. Sunrise was their favorite moment of the day. They greeted the sun with songs, but sunset they dreaded. As soon as the sun dipped low near the horizon, the people would scatter back to their homes and turn on the lights and lanterns and even small screens that glowed too. They created a pretend daytime inside and stayed busy all evening until their eyes, tired of the lights, could stay open no longer. One fall, a traveler came to visit this village on foot. She carried only some paint brushes, a guitar, and a basket of herbs. She had a beautiful, long gray braid wrapped around her head like a crown, and her face had creases from a lifetime of smiling. She was dressed in layers of warm skirts and shawls, and she called herself Yana. The people of the village were welcoming to Yana and told her about an empty cabin on the edge of town. She could stay there if she wished, though they worried, for it had no electricity. Wonderful, she said to their astonishment. When it is night, I prefer the dark. There are gifts of the darkness. They shrugged and left her to her strange thinking. But soon she made the cabin quite homey and set about to get to know the people of the village. She joined them for their sunrise singing and spent the fall days with them helping with the harvest. They were a strong people and took care of one another. They had plenty of food to get through the coming winter and gladly shared with her. The children loved to watch her paint during the lunch hour in the middle of the day. And she taught them which herbs to gather for easing stomach aches or easing worry. And just before the first frost, the children helped her plant garlic bulbs in the ground. Yana, asked one little one, I think we saw you walking through the fields last night in the moonlight. You didn't even have a flashlight with you. Weren't you scared? I do not fear the dark like your people do. Long ago, maybe there were more reasons to fear the dark. Hungry animals who might find our cave at night, but that's a worry from the past. Instead of fear, for me, the dark gives the gift of new life taking root. All life begins in the dark, children. These garlic bulbs and all seeds sprout in the dark. Even the seed that used to be you grew in the darkness of the womb. And then she asked them what kind of soil is best for seeds to grow in. And since these were farming children, they knew the answer. The darkest soil. That's right. The roots need darkness, but the leaves need light, said one child. Yes, said Yana, and each of us needs both too. At night, when you sleep, is when your bodies grow the most. The darkness offers the gift of rest and growth. A few days after the first snowfall, some children stopped by her cabin. Yana was painting a beautiful picture of a garden in the shape of a spiral. How did you get that idea? They asked. From a dream I had last night, she said with a smile. Dreams are a gift that come to us in the darkness and can give us inspiration. So the children started going to bed a little earlier at night so they would have more time for dreams. And they delighted Yana in the morning with stories of the adventures in their dreams. The children that lived closest to Yana's house would often hear her picking softly at her guitar or singing a song at sunset with just one candle lit in the window. Yana, why do you sing at sunset? They asked. She thought for a moment. I suppose being still in the dark lets the quiet voice in my heart be heard. Sometimes it tells me of a hurt that needs tending. The songs are like medicine for my heart. Darkness gives me the gift of healing. She taught them the songs, and they carried them home and taught their families to sing by candlelight. Around the village, some houses at twilight began to have fewer lights on. It felt more peaceful and less busy. One of the oldest teenagers of the village stopped by to shovel Yana's pathway one morning when they had had a recent snow, like we had this week. Thank you kindly, said Yana out the doorway, and please come back tomorrow afternoon. Tell all the children to come to my house, for tomorrow is the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. And in my tradition, we give gifts on this day. Well, nothing gets children gathered like knowing that there are gifts. The next afternoon, she gave each child a bundle of mint from her garden and some words painted in lovely colors. Look, new life. Mine says rest, said one child. Another pulled out their word. This one says growth. Other children had words like dreams and healing. But what are the blank papers for? They asked Yana. I have shared with you some of the gifts of darkness that I find, but I want to see what gifts of the darkness you notice. I think I will paint stories and snuggles, said one child. Another thought, in the dark, I can hear my cats purr and the sound of snowflakes on the window. I will paint listening. They hugged Yana in thanks for the gifts and poured out of her cabin into the purple twilight, slowly, peacefully going back to their homes under the light of the first stars. Yana's heart was filled as she lit a single candle in the window of her cabin. That evening, the children taught their families about the gifts of the darkness, and the village houses were lit by soft candlelight, and the songs of sunset were heard throughout the hills. I wonder what gifts of the darkness you discovered during this time of winter solstice. And maybe you could write them or paint them on some paper and set them around a candle at your table or near a window as a reminder. Thank you for listening to my story the gifts of the darkness. And now we are lucky to have local musician Patti Casey to share one of those songs that Yana might have sung as the nighttime settled in.
Evening rolls in early way up north here, and the hushed and snowy mountain takes your frozen breath away. Oh, bitter cold, and so much has flown away. Winter knows a kindness all its own. A stranger lit a candle in the window, so it shines out on the pathway where so many find their way. Some in finest leather, some will beg, and many fear. None will walk alone in the dark, because for all of us was kindled the bright and morning star, whose light pours down on the dirty and the clean. And we all wait through the longest night, we do not wait alone. For into this night will come a light of the bright and the morning star. So gather round you all your friends and family, and reach your hand across the void to someone who has none. And we'll light a little flame, and then we'll sing to the sky. And we will not wait alone in the dark, because for all of us was kindled the bright and morning star, whose light pours down on the dirty and clean. And we all wait through the longest night, we do not wait alone. For into this night will come a light of the bright and the morning star, whose light pours down on the dirty and clean. And we all wait through the longest night, we do not wait alone. For into this night will come a light of the bright and the morning star.
Great. I invite you to stand up if you can or are able to. Get on your feet. If you are not, that is totally fine. You may sit down. Just find yourself towards the front edge of your chair with your feet firmly on the ground. If you're on a squishy couch or a squishy chair and you can, find a harder surface to sit on, something that you can really feel connected to and you don't sink into. All right, that's better.
So we're finding ourselves standing or sitting on a chair with our feet firmly on the ground. Make sure you have enough room. You're not going to hit anybody in the face or hit anything off. You're just going to be moving your arms, so don't worry, we're not doing anything too big. Just make sure you're not going to break anything special in your house, like a person or a thing, special thing. We're going to find our feet on the ground, firmly planted on the ground in what us dancers call parallel. So you're going to look down and make sure your toes are facing straight forward. And like I tell my kids in my dance classes, like they're not going to touch. Yeah, they're not kissing. We're going to close our eyes or have a soft gaze, whatever is most comfortable to you. And feel your feet on the ground, connected to the ground as if there's roots growing from the bottom of your feet down through the floor into that nice cold earth, down to the warmth growing down. Feel that energy from the bottom of your feet entering the earth. You could softly open your eyes. And now we're going to bring our energy up to the top of our head with any hand. And your biggest finger on your hand, find the top of your head and tap it about 3 times. And then let that string of energy lift you up tall, tall, tall to the sunshine, to the stars, the clouds. So now we've got some polar opposites. We've got our energy going down to the ground and the energy going up through our head to the sky. Now let's find our center. Hand over your belly button, other hand over your heart. With your eyes open or closed, whatever is most comfortable for you, find your breath, filling those places. Let's breathe about 3 times here. Then drop your arms to the side, and we're going to take 3 more breaths, but this time we're going to let our arms go up with our inhale and down with our exhale. You can make noise, you can breathe out really loud. Feeling our expansiveness. One more time. And before we begin learning this movement body prayer, movement meditation, I'm just going to remind you to take everything to your fullest body, to your fullest extent. So if you have a hurt shoulder, you can't reach way up, find a way to go to your fullest extent, whether that's down low or to the side, or maybe it's just on one side because one side can't move. Just make sure that you are taking it to your fullest body extent and no further. This is Lyra and this is Glenaya. We're going to do a call and response first as I teach. I'm going to say a line and do a movement. Then they will do the movement and say the line, and you will join them. We will do that twice, call and response. Then we will do it twice all together. Then we will take the words away and do it twice in silence with just the movement, ending with our breath. All right, here we go. May you find peace in the promise.
May you find peace in the promise
Of the solstice night.
of the solstice night,
That each day forward.
that each day forward
Is blessed with more light.
is blessed with more light,
That the cycle of nature.
that the cycle of nature,
Unbroken and true.
unbroken and true,
Brings faith to your soul.
brings faith to your soul
And well-being to you.
and well-being to you.
Rejoice in the darkness.
Rejoice in the darkness,
In the silence find rest.
in the silence find rest,
And may the days that follow
and may the days that follow
be abundantly blessed.
Be abundantly blessed.
One more time. May you find peace in the promise
May you find peace in the promise
of the solstice night,
of the solstice night,
that each day forward
that each day forward
is blessed with more light,
is blessed with more light,
that the cycle of nature,
that the cycle of nature,
unbroken and true,
unbroken and true,
brings faith to your soul
brings faith to your soul
and well-being to you.
and well-being to you.
Rejoice in the darkness,
Rejoice in the darkness,
in the silence find rest,
in the silence find rest,
and may the days that follow
and may the days that follow
be abundantly blessed.
be abundantly blessed.
All together. May you find peace in the promise of the solstice night, that each day forward is blessed with more light, that the cycle of nature, unbroken and true, brings faith to your soul and well-being to you. Rejoice in the darkness, in the silence find rest, and may the days that follow be abundantly blessed. Again. May you find peace in the promise of the solstice night, that each day forward is blessed with more light, that the cycle of nature, unbroken and true, brings faith to your soul and well-being to you. Rejoice in the darkness, in the silence find rest, and may the days that follow be abundantly blessed. And in silence.
Nearly 800 years ago, an almost magical sight appeared in the night sky. Two bright lights started to move closer and closer to one another, and then they came so close together that they appeared to be just one big bright light, brighter than anything else that could be seen in the sky that night. And I bet many of you have heard about a similar celestial event that is going to be taking place tomorrow night. Do you know what it's called? A great conjunction. A great conjunction happens about every 20 years when the planets Jupiter and Saturn appear to meet in the sky. The year 1226 was the last time that a great conjunction was visible to humans. And even though a great conjunction occurs every 20 years, this year's great conjunction is also the closest that these two planets have aligned since the year 1623. Many people are finding great significance in the fact that the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn is occurring on the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. What could it mean that this rare astronomical event is happening on this significant day on the wheel of the year? Some are heralding the coincidental alignment of the Great Conjunction and the winter solstice as a time of renewal, a time to mark endings and to welcome new beginnings. And given the restrictiveness and challenges of the past year, I bet many of us are feeling a need for renewal. Human beings have always looked to nature's seasons and the cosmos to find our place and to try to make meaning of these human lives that we live. Sometimes our concerns and even our accomplishments can feel so great. And yet nature and the cosmos remind us that we are part of something much, much larger. Although the lights of Jupiter and Saturn appear to be tiny in the sky, we know that they are in fact enormous in size. And though they will appear to come as close as the thickness of a dime held at arm's length, these two planets will in fact be over 400 million miles apart from one another. And these are great big thoughts to ponder on the longest night of the year. Like Liza shared in the Story for All Ages, darkness is one part of nature's rhythms that invites us to reflect more deeply. Every day as the sun sets, we enter this period of darkness, a time of rest and stillness. And the winter solstice gives us this chance to slow down, just as the sun appears to slow down. The invitation of the solstice is to be as still as the sun seems to be during these days that mark the official start of winter. As you slow down a bit and have some moments of stillness this solstice, you can reflect on what this time means to you. And I'll invite you just briefly into a time of reflection. If you're able, I invite you to move to a darker part of your home or to turn off some lights, maybe move away from the screen, but stay close enough that you can hear me or read the captions. For any kids who might be listening in, you could go into the fort that you made for today's Children's Chapel. We're just going to be here for a minute or so. Or you can just imagine the darkness for a moment and breathe quietly in this stillness for a few moments. Remember back to earlier in the service when Liza wondered what gifts of darkness you might discover during this time of winter solstice. I invite you to reflect on that for a moment. If you're feeling so moved, you can share a few words in the chat about the gifts of darkness, or you can find a piece of paper, write some of those words down, make a drawing maybe. If there are any words of the gifts of darkness that you might have to share, I will take a look in the chat and share those aloud. I see creativity is a gift of the darkness, definitely. Imagination is one, inspiration is another gift of the darkness. Being able to see the stars, yes. These are all wonderful gifts of the darkness. Patience, renewal and rest. New ideas, being unable to see imperfection, silence, blossoming, quiet. Being able to hear every little sound, peace. Thank you all for sharing that. And as wonderful as darkness can be, we also need the light The winter solstice is meaningful to many, many people because it marks the return of the light and the ever so slowly lengthening of the daylight hours. So now I invite you, if you had turned your lights off, you can turn those back on, move closer to a window or somewhere where you can be in the light, maybe take in the glow of your chalice flame if you have a chalice lit near you, and bask in the light with stillness for a few moments. What does the return of the light mean to you? What hope does the light carry for you? Again, I invite you to maybe write down some of your reflections or make a drawing, or if you'd like to share a few words in the chat of what the return of the light means to you. New growth, promise, and hope, peace. There can be peace in both darkness and light, awareness, energy, seeing beauty, spiritual awakening, hope for the new year, labor and birth, angels, sharing with others, vitality, all wonderful meaning to find in the return of the light. And finally, if you have an evergreen tree in your home or maybe a wreath or garlands, I'm in the sanctuary where Beth Damon has done such a wonderful job placing evergreens. We have our winter tree back here. You can, if you're near some evergreens, maybe take in their smell or reach out and touch some of the needles. Evergreen reminds us of the cycles of rebirth and renewal and provides us assurance that life is present even in the dark days of winter. So this winter solstice, may you delve into the gifts of the fertile darkness. May you marvel at the wonders of the natural world and the beckoning night sky. May you feel the warmth of the flame and the spark of hope that light will return. Blessed be. And now let us join in a closing song. This recording of Dark of Winter was created by 3 Unitarian Universalist ministers and is offered as a gift for this winter season. I invite you to sing along from wherever you are.
Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet sleep, and then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me.
As we draw our solstice service to a close, we extinguish the chalice and carry within each of us its healing flame, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope into the solstice night ahead. As we do so, let us join in saying the mission statement of the Unitarian Church of Montpelier. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home.
Thank you, Center, Place of Spirit, for being with us here today. Here at the solstice, we will not forget our commitment to care for each other and those in need through the long winter. Thank you and farewell, Center.
Thank you, North, Place of Earth, for being with us here today. Here at the solstice, we remember that spring's pure potential must rest in the fertile dark. Thank you and farewell, North.
Thank you, West, place of water, for being with us here today. Here at the solstice, we remember to call our loved ones and tell each other how much they mean to us. Thank you and farewell, West.
Thank you, South, Place of Fire, for being with us here today. Here at the solstice and through the cold days of winter, we will remember that wood fire is the heat of the summer sun coming back to us. Thank you and farewell, South.
And thank you, East, place of air, for being with us here today. Here at the solstice, as we draw inward, you gift us with inspirations and ideas that will sprout like seeds in the new year. Thank you and farewell, East.
Our circle is open.
Snowy mountain takes your frozen breath away.